Hello and welcome to another edition of the Big Branch Cincinnati Reds fan Facebook page videocast. I'm Bill McClure this week, and we have a lot of things going on, but I thought you all would notice the silly batting hat I have on. But I got it on there for three reasons. Number one, got your attention, didn't it? Number two, it was nice, balmy 59 degrees in Roanoke, Virginia today, so I went down to the Salem Red Sox batting cages and took a little batting practice. And I'm glad to say, folks, I can still hit an 83-mile-an-hour fastball, and I can still hit a 78-mile-an-hour curveball. Not like I used to, but hey, when you're 65 pushing 66, that is pretty darn good. And the main reason that I have the batting helmet on is 3 weeks from today is the first spring training game against Cleveland. Yes, sirree. We're heading right into spring, full blast. Puxatawny Phil didn't see a shadow, so we've got an early spring coming on. So let's get right to all the basics. There's a lot going on right now. First of all, Ken Rosenthal has been reporting that the Reds were shopping Jonathan India, their number 5 prospect, heavily during the offseason. Now, that was first reported yesterday, and today that's being walked back a little bit. And you know, that's kind of a natural thing, because when people want to make trades and everything, they're going to come by and they want your top prospects. Well, the Reds have pretty much already said Green and Trammell and Senzel, all three are off the books. Nobody's going to get them. And everybody in the league pretty much knows that. And for once, the Reds set a boundary, and I'm happy as hell they did. Because they have just been getting crap kicked out of them in trades until this year, till they got aggressive. So maybe the front office is figuring that out now. The reason Jonathan India is expendable, and he is expendable, is we have 3 third basemen right now. First of all, we have Suarez, who's locked up through 2023. We also have Alex Blandino, who will be back, and his progress is supposed to be very, very good, better shape than when he left. And also Nick Senzel. Actually, remember, before all this configuration with second base and center field and corner outfield and whatever, he did come up as a third baseman. So right now we have 3 pretty solid third basemen. And Jonathan India is athletic, but he's projected as an infielder only and pretty much third baseman. So, yeah, of course, he's the first guy we're going to offer in a trade with our 3 top guys off. So that's what's going on there. The Real Muto trade, wow. I heard a couple of rumors from the Marlins side that we would get Real Muto and this guy Nick Whitgren, who is a right-handed pitcher. He's 2-1, had a 2.94 ERA last year as a reliever. You know, we'll throw in. But the Marlins would get Jonathan India, Tony Santillan, Tucker Barnhart, and Mariel Bautista. No, 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 and hell no. Forget that. Santillan and Bautista are the backbone of the plan, and that's the second part of the broadcast I'll go into much more detail later, is the Reds' plan from 2019 to 2022. It's very simple, and we'll show you that later. But anyway, Santillan and Bautista are the backbone of the plan, especially in 2021 and 2022. So, yeah, we don't want to do that. Now, if they want to take India and Tucker Barnhart, I'm all for it. Then we get Real Muto, and Chris here and I had a conversation this week, and hopefully, folks, I'm going to convince him to, at least by cell phone, come on the broadcast. I think that would be just such fun. We had a great talk, but this is one thing that we discussed. And if we are getting Real Muto in order to send him to Cleveland and get Kluber, I'm all for that. Totally and completely all in. Real Muto fills a need that Cleveland has. Their glaring hole right now is catcher. Folks, they have three guys. They just signed Kevin Plawecki, who the Mets let go. That's right, the Mets. And they have three Billy Hamilton-esque hitting catchers. And I'm talking power and lack thereof. And an average that ranges from 197 to 204. So that's what they have for catching right now. They can't spend a whole lot of more money. They've tried to shed payroll. So I think that's a beautiful natural fit to pull that off. If we keep Real Muto for a couple of years, like I said, with Tucker and India, no problem with that. Throw anybody else in, forget it, unless it's a very low-level prospect. And that's all I'm going to say on that as far as that goes. Okay, the Zach Duke signing. I know a lot of people are skeptical that I've talked to and everything, but, you know, there's a couple of things. The book on Zach Duke is that, yeah, he had a 4.15 ERA last year and a 4.57 FIP, which shows that he was lucky. It could have been worse. But most of that was in Seattle when he was traded from the Twins to the Mariners. The Mariners totally utilized him the wrong way. Zach Duke, as far as his stats, he kills lefties. He kills lefties. Righties hit him pretty well. He was pretty much a lefty specialist with the Twins and had like a 3.06 ERA. Then when he went to the Mariners, they used him 42% against right-handers, 58% against lefties. And he suffered. He suffered badly. And that inflated his ERA and everything. So if the Reds signed him to utilize him as a left-handed specialist, no problems here, folks. I can go with that all day long. Because what do we have now? We're looking at Amir Garrett, Wandy Peralta, and Brandon Finnegan. As far as I'm concerned, Finnegan doesn't prove himself in the minors this year. DFA. I mean, we've been hanging on to this guy. He was such a hot prospect. We don't need him anymore. Jettison him from the Cincinnati Reds mothership as far as I'm concerned. Peralta, he's got a lot to prove. I thought he was brought up a little too quick, but he hasn't done much for us last year, and I don't see it really getting much better. Steamer's projecting an even worse year, so I don't know if Peralta is going to be there. So who do we have left-handed specialist? That leaves Amir Garrett. Garrett is mediocre at best, but he is mediocre at best both ways. If he can get a lefty out and a righty out with pretty much the same amount, so he can come in any situation. So that leaves a lefty specialist. Zach Duke could be able to do that. I really think he could go really well as far as a specialist. Also, he has a 58% ground ball rate, which is just phenomenal and great for Great American Ballpark. And he doesn't give up many home runs, doubles, and triples. So, yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, who else do we have back there? We got Buddy Bashers and Ian Kroll. I bet you never heard either one of them before they signed with Cincy, did you? Yep, that's what we got in the back pocket. So, you know, hey, Zach Duke signing probably was fairly cheap. The details aren't out yet, but if the Reds utilize him, and I'm sure with their analytics department now they will, as a left-handed specialist, then we're in pretty good shape with that signing. Also, the Reds analytics department. I want to go into that just for a minute, and then I'm going to get into the plan. The Reds analytics department seems to have really taken off this year. The people that they are getting are ground ball specialists. As a matter of fact, Alex Wood is good on ground balls. And I was reading a bold prediction today in Red Reporter that they're predicting he's going to be 3 or 4 in the Cy Young Award voting. Don't know if I go that far, but I think he's going to have a great year. And it seems that our analytics department has now really flourished, and they're starting to do the due diligence that other teams have been doing on us. So now that we're doing it back, we're going to have a much better chance. And that's the one variable I don't think anybody has plugged in to how the Reds are going to do this year. And speaking of the Reds, if you'll allow me just a moment to move around and change my notes and the camera, which is not good, we're going to go into the plan. Okay, this is what I've hyped on the page, and here is the plan. 2019 to 2022 Reds, the plan. I will be posting this on the Facebook page, so those of you all who are members will be able to see it in print, and I think you'll see better than me talking to you, but I'm going to do that anyway for the folks that aren't members. Next year, 2019, we have no one out. We've got a column out and a column in. We have no one out. Everyone's signed. We know what the team's going to look like. Now, who do we have coming in? First of all, Nick Senzel. I've put him down as utility. We all know he's an infielder, outfielder. Center field is his to take in spring training. And I think we have a good chance of seeing that happen. We have two guys that we're looking at for call-ups at the end of the year, and that's Vladimir Gutierrez and Jimmy Herget. Gutierrez is a starting pitcher. Herget is a relief pitcher. And there probably will be a September call-up when rosters expand. Okay, now the one you all really want to know about is 2020. And here we go. We have some outs. We got a lot of outs. We have Alex Wood. We have Scooter Gennett. We have Yasiel Puig. We have David Hernandez. We have Tanner Rourke. And we have Matt Kemp, all leaving. That's a lot. That's 6 people leaving. Now, some of you all are going to say, but Jared Hughes is out that year also. Actually, technically, no, he's not. We have a option year of $3 million for 2020 or a $250,000 buyout. I've got the feeling with his ground balls and everything, we're probably going to exercise the cheap $3 million option, and he will be with us in 2020. Now, who do we have coming in now? Gutierrez will be back as a starting pitcher. We have Jimmy Herget back as a relief pitcher. And then we have the one and only, if he's still with us, Jonathan India, who's an infielder. He's expected to come up in 2020. Tony Santillan, remember the Marlins trade. No. This is our future ace. This is the Johnny Cueto down there that nobody's heard of yet, except for other scouts. Tony Santillan, a starting pitcher, will be up in 2020. We also have Jose Siri, who probably will take over in center field because as Scooter leaves, guess who's going to second? That's right, Nick Senzel, back to a position he's comfortable with. And then we also have Taylor Trammell is expected up full-time in 2020. So that gives us we're losing a couple outfielders, we're gaining a couple. We're losing a couple pitchers, we're gaining a couple. One relief, one starter. So we're good there. So now we move on to 2021. We have leaving Jared Hughes. Then we also have leaving, or as a free agent, Anthony DeSclafani. And then we also have Anthony Bass. Remember, we signed him. He's on the 40-man right now. Anthony Bass. He will be a free agent at that point. And I think at that point we'll go, who cares? So in 2021, we're looking at coming in Hunter Green, another starting pitcher who could, I'm sure, capably take over for Disco. We have Tyler Stevenson coming in, a catcher, one of our top 10s. He's starting to finally turn it around, so we're in good shape. Mariel Bautista in the outfield, and Hendrik Clementina, who's a catcher, but I've got a note on him in just a moment. Okay, a couple of things here. Mariel Bautista, he's going to come in and slide in as a starter in 2021. If we trade him to the Marlins for JT Realmuto, we lose that. It's gone. See you later, bye. So yeah, he's got to stay. He's a very important cog in the plan. Then in 2022, We've got some names leaving here. First of all is Raisel Iglesias, who's a relief pitcher. Michael Lorenzen, who's starting in relief, whichever. Tucker Barnhart, catcher. And another guy that we signed, I didn't realize we signed him like forever, Aldris Hammer Despagny or Despain, or I'm sure Despain. I'm trying to be southern redneck here with the pronunciation, but yeah, Aldris Hammer or whatever, who is a relief pitcher who is on our 40-man, folks, and we have signed through 2022. Now, in the meantime, coming in, this is where we go from even in, even out to more coming in. We've got Scott Moss, who's projected to be a starter or a right-handed pitcher. We have the best defensive and overall hitter in our minors right now, Mike Ciani, who also is a center fielder, so if anything happens to Jose Siri, we've got backup there. We also have Jose Israel Garcia, one of our highly signed, high dollar sign shortstop prospects at $4 million, is expected to hit a shortstop. Then we have Chris Oakey, who was taken in the first round last year, I believe. He is a catcher, very solid, kind of a Tucker Barnhart. He's not a huge hitter. He's good, fairly good defense, decent hitter, but definitely expected by most pundits to make it to the big leagues. Then we have Jared Solomon, a starting pitcher. Bet you've never heard of him. Look him up. You will. He's ready to hit. And then we have Ibandel Isabel, who we got in the trade for Ariel Hernandez to the Dodgers. This guy was fantastic, lights out last year. He only hit .257, but he set a Florida Coast League record with 36 home runs, and he tied the minors with one of the top prospects in the entire MLB in home runs, tied with home runs in minor league baseball. So that's the plan. We have people coming in to fill in with people going out. We actually have a little bit of overload starting in 2021. Some of the people behind are starters. So it's looking really good, folks, for the next 4 to 5 years. And like I said, I will post a picture of this on the Facebook page so that you can see it in black and white. It looks a whole lot better than anything. I just cannot do it justice at all. So, ready to sign out, ready for spring training, ready for this thaw that we're having right now, and I hope everybody is getting thawed out from the polar vortex, the artist formerly known as Clippers, and we're ready for baseball and ready to go. This is Bill McClure, over and out, and we'll see you in a week or two with the next edition of the Big Branch Cincinnati Reds fan Facebook page broadcast. Yeah, buddy.